Start recording again. Alright, now that we've covered the basics of the controller layout, let's get into one of my favorite classes. Who should we start with? Let's either go with Titan or maybe Wraith. Let's go with, you know what? Let's go with Vanguard. I think Vanguard is a good class to get started with if you're coming from other first-person shooters that have machine gun or light machine gun style of play. And we're going to do this live inside of an actual game. I'm going to pick Vanguard. I've got a pretty cool skin for Maverick on Vanguard here. I like that green praying mantis look. And then the gun skin being the nice red. Looks pretty slick overall. So I've got my controller set up the way that I showed you previously. And as I talked about in the previous video, there is a primary fire and an alternate fire for most characters. So the primary fire is going to be the light machine gun here. And as you can see, as I hold this down, I'm spraying bullets. The bullets are spraying faster, and the reticle is reducing in size, meaning it's getting more and more accurate. And if I want to conserve bullets, I can kind of build up the speed a little bit, and then tap fire. I can build up the speed, build up the accuracy, and then start tap firing in order to delay me running out of bullets a little bit. So that's really the primary fire. You like tactical better than you like bumper jumper, Marshall? Yeah, tactical I think is really good as well. If you don't want to use defaults, then tactical is a good or if you don't want to use bumper jumper, tactical is a good option. But I still find bumper jumper to give me more freedom of movement than tactical. So yeah, talking about primary fire and alternate fire though. So on the Vanguard here, the alternate fire, which is going to be left trigger, which is typically aim down sight, but there is no aim down sight in LawBreakers. Alternate fire for this character is this pulsar, which is going to do damage to nearby enemies, and it's also going to knock you backwards. One of the cool things you can do with pulsar in zero gravity zones is actually make yourself move backwards, or even if you just jump and then use pulsar. You can start moving backwards really quickly. If I just stand against a wall or stand in this little hallway right here, I can press backwards and it's going to knock me back a little bit. But if I jump from the edge of this and then press pulsar, it's going to knock me back a lot further than it did previously. So let's get into some matches here. The other thing you need to know about Vanguard is the movement capability beyond just moving forward and jumping and moving backwards. And that is going to be when you press L3 down on the left stick. You're going to start using up your fuel to start flying. So you can combine this. You can combine your flight with your jump in order to do some really cool things. Vanguard is one of the faster classes in the game, even though it may not seem like it at first. But once you start to learn the basic fuel management techniques, the ability to get up to speed and then jump in order to maintain your speed and maintain your distance, it works out really well. Right now, I want to get up on top of this ledge, so I'm going to use my flight in order to get up here. I didn't waste all of my fuel to get up there. I used enough to get over the edge, and I aimed up while doing it, because this character will fly in the direction that you're aiming. So if I want to have further distance in my flight, I want to aim up in order to do that. So if we're sitting back here in the spawn, for example, I want to get out through this doorway and over that ledge. So I'm going to start aiming up, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to hit my jump, and now I'm in the zero gravity zone, which I didn't really talk about before. But we do have the zero gravity zones in addition to the standard gravity zones. So I'm going to use a combination of jumping and flying in order to get myself over the edges here. I got shot a few times, so I'm going to find these health packs. Right now we're trying to defend this thing. I've got my weapons out that will give me a lot of spray damage, the LMG. Got my pulsar that I can use to knock myself backwards, knock enemies backwards. Great for movement. I can face this direction, hit pulsar, and then fly in the other direction by turning around quickly, kind of like a rocket jump, except it's a pulsar jump. But when I'm in zero gravity, oh, there's an enemy. Let's see if I can take this enemy down. I'm going to fall off the edge of the map, which I don't want to do. So let me start flying backwards. Oops, that's a friendly guy. I'm going to start flying around the map here. There's an enemy over there. Let's get out of here. Nobody coming in. There's a Titan down there. We got an assist. Our uplink is complete. I'm going to fly across the map. I'm going to get back down to the center. There's some enemies that we're paying attention to. We don't want to be directly in front of these enemies. This is not a character that allows us to really go head on, be a tank, and just do a ton of damage. What you really want to do is think about being a jet fighter, because that's essentially what this class is a jet fighter. You have these jet engines. Ooh! I got the kill right before they dropped it on their station. Of course, they're gonna get it because they have 2 people in there.
Enemy uplink connected.
But we're starting to see a little bit of what the Vanguard can really do in terms of movement. I want to fly over this thing, so I'm going to look up and fly. But I'm not holding on to my fuel the whole time. Now that I'm out here in the 0G zones especially, I don't want to use my fuel very much, because once I get moving, I tend to maintain my movement. I can change my direction quickly, I can move around, I can get across the map. I'm very low on health. Oops, and I got killed. That's fine. Once you've got the basic movements down, it's time to really start learning the maps, though. And yes, it does take a while to really learn the movements of any given character. This is one of the faster characters, but also one of the easiest to learn in terms of movements. Because really all you need to do is just think about holding down L3 in order to move quickly. Keep yourself from falling down off the map, of course. Use pulsar to quickly change your direction, or add a little bit of boost to your direction. Like, I don't want to fall, so I'm going to look down. There's an assassin attacking me currently. I'm going to see if I can get down into this health station. I don't want them to kill me, so I'm going to hit this health station back here. Maybe they'll come in. I'll hit pulsar, and I got the pulsar kill. The pulsar knocked them back, knocked me back, and added a ton of damage at the same time. I had my machine gun rolling, but I also hit the pulsar at the same time. Now, if you combine this with stuff, get your machine gun rolling, press jump and pulsar, knock yourself backwards, knock them backwards, do a ton of damage to them, get yourself out of their line of fire, and also get yourself moving. There's a lot of really cool combos that you can do with this particular class. Happy Bad Kitty, how's it going? Welcome back to the stream. So glad you to be here. Doing some tutorials on Vanguard at the moment. Notice that I'm not doing a ton of movement right now because the enemy was behind, or I was behind the enemy, so I really didn't need to move around a ton until they actually turned around and looked at me.
Uplink stolen.
Once they were turned around and looking at me, then I really needed to think more about movement. You want to get behind other characters. You want to get behind the enemies and think about where you are in relation to the enemy. Because you don't want to be attacking them head on. It's very difficult to attack head on. Use that. Ooh! I tried to use that pulsar to get myself back up, but the gunslinger got me. I was thinking more about what I was saying than where I actually was in relation to the enemy. So I've talked about some of the core abilities. My uplink severed. Ooh, that's a Vanguard. I'm trying to get the Vanguard knocked down, but they got away from us.
Enemy uplink connected.
So one of the weapons I haven't shown yet, but I just threw out, was my little, my kind of a frag grenade. I can't remember what it's called offhand, but it's on Bumper Jumper. It's going to be R1, the right one or right shoulder button, which is going to give me these 5 grenades that you can throw out. They do, I think, 25 damage each or something close to that. So if you do happen to hit all 5 of them on an enemy character, it's a ton of damage. This guy went back here to try and get... Alright, got the pulsar on him. He was trying to get back to this health station, didn't want to let him do that. Want to see if we can throw some of this grenade around, hit some people. Oop, there's a character. We got that kill as well. I'm going to hop up here. Something else that I haven't shown yet is my character's ultimate ability, which is pretty darn phenomenal. Got that pulsar kill again. You see that I'm getting a lot of combos here. I'm hitting people with my machine gun, but then I'm rapidly using that pulsar to get a ton of damage at the end and really take them out. The last thing that I want to show for Vanguard is the ultimate ability, which is called Starfall. And the Starfall ability gives me the ability to launch myself in the air, slam down on the ground, do an area of effect damage, but also to change the gravity in the area. This is an ability, an ultimate ability that can do a lot of strategic things in your fight. You can not only use it to damage the enemies that you land on, and I've had triple kills with this pulsar, or I'm sorry, with the Starfall ultimate before. Move out of the way real quick, get my health back up here. Let's get back down here, find where they went. There they are. Get that pulsar on him. See if we can get him, knock them off. Get turned around. Oh, there's too many of them. Try to pulsar again. I'm really running really low on health. We got our uplink completed. Well done, team. Oops, I died. So that ultimate that I was showing you, that Starfall, like I said, it does some pretty good damage when you land on the enemies or land near the enemies because it has an area of effect explosion. But it's also very, very useful as a strategic thing to do, just to knock enemies off of the location and to screw up the gravity so it takes people a half a second to reorient themselves and figure out what they're doing. Got that kill, got the uplink. Now that I have the uplink, I want to get back here as quickly as possible. Get this thing on here. There we go. Ooh, that death from above call out, that was somebody else doing the ultimate, the Starfall. There we go. There's a Starfall kill. I'm up in the air. I'm going to fly out of there to find some health because I am running low on health. There's a lot to pay attention to in this game. And when you have that ultra high sensitivity like I have, it can be very difficult to see what's going on because you're moving around so quickly. See if we can get this guy. Ah, I missed him. There was another Vanguard shooting at me. So there is a lot to pay attention to. You have a lot to deal with in your movement, especially when you're running at high sensitivity. Uplink dropped. We need to pick that up again. Okay, our Harrier's got it. Go for it, Harrier. We just run some protection here. We pulsar. There you go. Got that kill. Ooh, couldn't get turned around. Having some issues getting turned around there. So yeah, when people talk about this game being high skill, it's because there's so much to pay attention to. There's so many different ways to combo these moves together. So many different characters that you're fighting against. One of the things that I absolutely love about this game... Ooh, I just got kicked in the face. One of the things that I absolutely love about this game, though, is that there is not a meta of character versus character. You don't have to think, oh, that team is playing a Vanguard, I should pull out Juggernaut. Oh, that team is playing a Wraith, I should pull out Assassin. You really don't need to think that way with this game. It's not like Overwatch in that way. Sure, you can make the comparisons to Overwatch because there's classes and there's characters, but it doesn't play out like Overwatch in the end because you legitimately have a chance to counter any player with any other player. All you need to do is learn your positioning and learn how to effectively work against a given player, a given character, with the character that you're using. It's one of the things that I really love. And we happen to win there, which is always a nice thing. That's what makes this game easier to pick up. Ooh, nice jankies on the outside edge of the screen here. That's wonderful. But that's what makes this game easier to me than Overwatch, because you don't have to think about that meta. You do, however, have to think about a lot of other things in this game. You have to think about your movement, you have to think about your positioning, you have to know and understand the character abilities, the ability to combo different things together, how and when and where to combo those things together. But as I've shown you with Vanguard, yeah, there's some really basic things you can do. You can start firing with your trigger. Ooh, I got bonus XP. That's right, we have double XP weekend right now. Excellent. You really have to think about, you know, firing and getting your firing rate up to speed to get more accurate, and then combine that with your pulsar to get that extra burst damage, knock yourself backward, knock the enemy backwards, hopefully get that kill. You want to think about melee, which in Bumper Jumper is going to be pressing down on the right analog stick, or R3. You want to think about throwing your grenades, which is going to be R1. You want to think about your flight by pressing L3 in order to build your momentum. Use your jump to maintain your momentum without having to waste your fuel. The good thing about your fuel is that as soon as you let go of that fuel button, you're going to stop using fuel and start recharging it. So if you let go of your fuel, you hit jump, you'll just continue soaring at the current speed wherever you are until you either get, you know, through the no gravity zone or land in the next gravity zone. The end result, though, is that you have a significantly longer amount of flight time than you would if you just only used your flight. A lot of cool things you can do with Harrier. You definitely want to check out some additional videos from people like Frothium, and I'm not sure if he's done a Harrier guide yet, but he has some super in-depth guides. Anyways, that's about it for this demonstration of Harrier. I'm going to get back to some normal games now and a few less tutorials. But thanks for watching this. Thanks for hanging out in stream chat. And for those of you watching this on YouTube, be sure to check out twitch.tv/CodeNinjaGaming, where I recorded this tutorial live with people in chat and people hanging out and doing cool stuff. It's a lot of fun over there on twitch.tv/CodeNinjaGaming. So be sure to check it out. Thanks for watching and happy gaming.